Hello, everyone. So we can start right away. As we're waiting for more people to join, they will find us has already started the session. So welcome everyone to our University Outreach Festival. So this is a Smart Lab University Outreach program that has been going on for a year now. We started the program last year in 2020, and the main reason for conducting this program is to improve and increase the employability skills in the students, the university students, and prepare them for employment. So we conducted trainings to the students in soft skills, project management, and human-centered design. But also we conducted hackathons after the trainings, like a practical training session for them to use the methodologies that they have learned in the trainings to put them into practice as they solve existing corporate challenges and they come up with innovative solutions for them. So that is a way of them learning and engaging with the corporates as well. And they get to experience the actual corporate, how the corporates work and the challenges that are facing the corporates out there. So this is the last event that is happening for the program. And it aims to bring together corporates from different industries to share experiences, their knowledge and skills to the students. The students learn from these corporates on what it takes to be employable, what skills are needed in the employment sector, and how should one prepare for the job market. This is the second session for today. We have a lot of activities and different sessions that are happening today, as we have speaking sessions, panel discussions, and workshops. So this is our second session, which is a panel discussion, which is going to talk about, the topic will be, what is the difference between a job and a career? And can you turn your hobby into a career? And would like to introduce our panelists for today right away. We have Mr. Loserian Eliyahu from Halos Containers. He will also give more detailed introduction about himself. And we have Michael Materu from CRDB Bank. And we also have Elizabeth Mwamfuagasi, also from CRDB Bank. And we'll have more panelists joining us from HTAF. So to start off right away, we'll open the room for our panelists for today to introduce themselves, and then we kick off with the discussion. You're most welcome, our panelists. I'll start with Loserian. You can give us a little bit of intro of your company and of yourself, and we'll move to the next person.
Thank you. Can you hear me, I think?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Loserian from Halos Container.
You can turn your video on so that
yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, it's clear now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Loserian from Halos Container, a company incorporated in Tanzania, based on trading of second-hand shipping container. We're actually on the logistic industry. That's why we deal with shipping container. That's a short introduction about my company, about our company, Halos. And personally, I am Loserian Eliyahu Losai. I graduated class of 2015 from University of Dodoma in Tanzania. Someone who is a little bit passionate about having an impact, mostly on the youth community. And that's why I'm interested in what you have done. And when the time you just shared that you're inviting me, I was so much interested because this is something I do like to engage myself with. So I think that is a simple introduction about myself.
Thank you, Loserian. We'll move to Michael, Mr. Michael Matero from CRDB Bank. You're welcome. Michael, please unmute your mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay. A very good morning to all of you. My name's Michael Matero. Currently the business planning manager supporting the director of human resource. I've just turned 1 at CRB. Before that, I was at Standard Chartered Bank as executive assistant to the country CEO. I have a degree in insurance and risk management from Institute of Financial Management, IFM. And yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Michael. We'll move to Elizabeth.
Okay, good morning. Elizabeth Monfagasi, my name's. I work with CRDB, Human Resource Department. My responsibility is really around talent management and ensuring that we have the right talent on board, but as well that we are attracting the right talent on board. I've been in this labor market for a while now, about 19 years, with different organizations. I have worked with Vodacom. I have worked with previously Barclays, that's currently ABSA, but I've also worked with Standard Chartered Bank, and now I'm here with CRDB. I've also worked in different career paths, so I've had an enriched career path that I must say, and I'm happy to share with you what I can share with you this morning. If you're all aware, we last year launched a graduate development program at CRDB Bank, where we managed to attract about 30 graduate trainees who are currently on board, and we are currently grooming and developing them into becoming bankers. Happy to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for the nice introduction. Yeah, just to start right away, we'd like to go back now to Losarian as we officially start our discussion with a topic that says, what is the difference between a job and a career? And I'm glad that we have someone from the talent management from CRDB who will share a lot of insights on this topic. Yeah. Yeah, so to start with Losarian from Halos Containers, can you help us define what is a job and what is a career?
Thank you. From my perspective, as simple as, because as you have said, we will have to learn, all of us, from the HR, Miss Elizabeth. But from my perspective, I can say a job is something you do every day for I can say, when you say you call it a job, it's for a paycheck. It's something you're doing, you're going there, doing something just to be able to fulfill your need and your wants. But when you call it a career, you go more than a job. It's a journey. It's a journey through learning, that work, the experience you collect, the training program you get, the setback. When you collect all of them and you make a progressive move, that is where you call a career. It has to be a graph which is going upward from everything you collect during the time you're doing your job. That is where you're building a career. And it has to be, you're sticking on a same road. If it's a human resource, or if it's an accountant, you're sticking on that line and you collect experience, trainings, you have setback and you learn from them. That is where over some time you have to say, now I have built a career. That is what I understand when you say job and a career.
Thank you, Losarian. Yeah, we can move now to Mr. Michael. Give us like a brief definition. What do you think we should know about a job and what is also a career? How can you differentiate these two?
Okay, thank you so very much. So from my end, I think the biggest difference between a job and a career is a job is more of short-term goal-oriented, I would say, while career is a series of connected employment opportunities. And from my understanding is jobs makes up a career. So it gives you a direction it gives you a direction and experience exactly what you want to do. So the biggest two factors I'll highlight the difference between a job and career is a job is something which is simply short-term based, but a career is more of a series of opportunities, employment opportunities that come from job. I'll let Elizabeth probably chip in.
Yes, we all can't wait for Elizabeth to give us a perfect definition of that. Welcome, Miss Elizabeth.
I'm not far from what they have said, actually. A job earns you a pay, but for a career, it's different. It's something that you develop over a long time, and you look at it to occupy your time for a longer period of time. A career can be enriched, it can be diversified, it's built over time. It eventually becomes like sort of part of your lifestyle, even though it also gives you an income. So I'm not far from what my previous colleagues have actually said. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Miss Elizabeth. So, yeah, I think we've all understood what is a job and what is a career in a nutshell, because these things can easily confuse us, you know, when we, in our search for career, mostly the students, when you're about to start your careers, you need to understand or you need to differentiate what is the job and what is a career, or how do I develop my career. Thank you very much, our panelists. So as we move on to that, in our economy, this question I would like back to you, Ms. Elizabeth. In our economy, what are some relevant, so as the topic says, can you turn a hobby into a career? So I would like to know, in the economy that we're in right now, what are some relevant hobbies that can be monetized and turned into a business, like an actual business for you to earn something, to earn a living or to earn an income?
It's really interesting that you want me to start. But I think we go back to looking, or rather defining what's a hobby. A hobby is something that somebody enjoys doing, right? And looking at it, people have had different hobbies. Others would have a hobby in singing, in cookery, in sports, in reading, in storytelling, and stuff like that. So hobbies are things that people enjoy doing. And now you're looking at it from the point of view of saying, how can you monetize a hobby, or rather, how can you turn a hobby, which is something that you enjoy, into a career, or something that gives you a lifelong income stream, I would call. For me, I have seen different people turn different hobbies into careers. Let me take, for example, I'm just going to depart from my banking sector and look at somebody who enjoys baking, for example, or rather who enjoys cooking, for example, or somebody who just enjoys watching animals, or rather farming or plants and stuff like that. People who love probably decors and stuff like that. All those can actually generate a career, in terms of saying a person who enjoys cooking can actually become a chef in terms of their career. A person who enjoys, say, watching plants or flowers, they can actually turn that into a business opportunity, in terms of they can be florists, yeah? A person who enjoys sports can also, develop that passion and become a player in one of these international or even non-international sports leagues and stuff like that. So yes, you can actually enrich your career by making it a hobby. I would like to turn it around like that, because some people do not enjoy doing their work. And if they don't enjoy doing their work, they will never do well in their job. And if that's part of their line or their career line, it will make it very difficult for these people to perform well. I like the way you have positioned this in terms of bringing in the relationship between the hobby and the career, because you need to enjoy your job for you to excel at it. So you can make your career line a hobby, but you can also develop your hobby into becoming a career line. Yeah? Let me pause there while we hear from the rest of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elizabeth. Yes, can we hear from Losarian now?
Yeah.
Yep. The floor is yours. Yeah, the
Okay.
question.
Okay. What I can say about this, I think Ms. Elizabeth has said it all. But what I can add from what she said is anything which has to be better and flourish, mostly on a career, or you want to have a better career or a better business. I truly believe it has to be your hobby, because as I have said on the when I define a career, there are setbacks. There are some things which can stay on your way, and if it's not something which interests you, which make you do it, even if it's not, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I don't think if you're going to succeed. And let me get back from the question you asked, that in our economy, what are the hobby which can be turned into a career? I can say anything which can be your hobby, because the advantage we have right now is we have an economy which is very flexible. I think we all see that every now and then we see new categories. Companies came and introduced totally different categories we haven't even think before. We have been the witness of stuff like Airbnb. We haven't think like someone can come and sleep at your home and you're just there and host them in that way. So for this economy in the world, or in our economy in Tanzania, anything which is your hobby, you can, as long as you have better understanding about it, you get a formal training, you get deep learning about it, you can turn it in a good career or a very good business. Something like, you can say, media. There are some people who have interests in media before they even get a formal education or formal training. How big is it? Media is, you can say, you can have a powerhouse. I always refer on something like THT. When I first listened about the founder of THT, the late Ruge Mutahaba, he just said that was a hobby for him. He needed something when he get out of class. He will just pass by in the evening and enjoy, because he loved music. So you can see something like THT, how many people have come from it, how far they have got, how many talents they have raised. That was somebody's hobby. So I can say anything which is in your hobby, as long as you have deep learning about it, you can turn it into a career. I think let me end here.
Yes, thank you, Losarian. Michael, do you have anything to add on that?
I think Elizabeth and the former speaker have summarized everything.
Yeah.
What I can say, I think we have good examples of people, friends who have tried to promote their hobbies, and it's just a matter of time for them to expand more and probably make that hobby as a full-time business.
Yes, so maybe to add on that, like a follow-up question, what are the tips that you can use to turn a hobby into a career? Maybe someone might be wondering, how do I turn my hobby into a career? Michael, would you like to answer that?
Okay, so there's no proper a clear layout on how you can turn your hobby or into a career. But what I can say is first, you need to do some sort of a discovery, like what you're good at. So if you're good into, let's say, sports, cooking, or art, you start slowly practicing, and then you navigate around and then try to promote whatever hobby that you're doing. And along the way, after a certain period of time, once you've become comfortable and it has come into your mind that that is something that you want to pursue, then you turn it into a full-time career. So you might go back to school, enhance it with education and things of that kind.
Okay, thank you very much. Elizabeth, you have something to add?
Yes, I just wanted to also add a little bit on that, and this I'm drawing from my experience and what I have seen in the market over time. Like I earlier stated, I've been in the industry for like the past almost 19 years, close to 20 years. And I have seen different people I have worked with step out of employment and start their own line of business, driving it from their passion. Like I remember I used to have a friend at Vodacom when I worked there, who used to enjoy or love the beauty of flowers, and should decorate her desks with flowers. If you go into her home, it was so highly floral. And like right now, she has actually stepped out of employment and she's carrying her own business as a florist. Yeah. So I think you need to have passion about that hobby. You need to be so passionately driven with it. But beyond that, I think you need to also do some research around how can that hobby generate money for you. Is there a need in the market for people who have a problem or who share a similar hobby, but they are not willing to take it up? But leave that alone. Turning that hobby into a career would also probably require you to dig further into learning to understand how you can make it better all the time, so that when you step out of it and you make it your career path, it becomes sustainable. Leaving that out, again, it's really important to understand that if you are to take your hobby into a career line, and you want to monetize it or you want to make it a business line, how does that translate into the business environment that you're operating in terms of, do we have any country regulations around that line, and how do you fit in? What would be the risks that you'll be taking, and how would you mitigate those risks? It's really important for you to do your research around that, come up with some sort of a business case whereby you're able to see how you're going to, make that your income earning line, so that it gives you a sustainable career. I'll pause there while Losarian shares his insights as well.
Yes, thank you. That's very insightful. Thank you, Elizabeth. Losarian, do you have anything to add on this?
Yes, I think they have said it all as I said before, but I can add some, I think, benchmark from when you want the process to make that decision and to make it happen from the way I understand. First of all, as Michael said, you have to identify your hobby and be very honest with yourself. Be very, very, very honest with yourself. And the second thing is I think you have to find the uniqueness, because anything you can find out is your hobby, something someone else is doing it. I don't think you can find something which is totally 100% unique, that it has never been existed before, but you can find something about it which is different from others, even if it's baking, the way you bake, the recipe, the way you deliver anything. Find something which is totally unique from the one you have. You can do your homework around. The third thing I think you can do is to improve your skills about your hobby. Go and get trained. If you want to make it a career, be trained. Be ready to learn from the one who have been there. Have something which is unique by yourself, but you have to get trained around because it's an industry. It's something which you will find some people there. And the fourth, find a niche. Find people you're gonna serve. You can't serve everyone. When you're finding something very, very, very unique, find its group. Find people who will be interested with it 100%. And master marketing. Learn how to sell it. Master marketing. The last one is innovate. Keep adding something new every now and then. Keep your ear with your customers, listen to them, and keep innovate.
Thank you, Losarian. Thank you very much for your contribution. So now let's move, let's focus on one thing now, career. As we've all known already the difference between a job and a career. I would like you to tell me, our panelists, what do you think, or how can we measure the success in our careers? So maybe Michael can start for this one. How can we measure success in our careers?
I just wanted to let Elizabeth, because she has been in the industry for so long. Probably.
Yeah. Always have to keep her last because she has a lot to share.
A lot to share. Okay,
Yes.
so for me, I think I would measure success based on a number of factors. One, including career growth, and that's being, for instance, we know we all have our first jobs, but along the way, we learn and then grow along. So I'll consider it as success. If somebody has grown, let's say, from a banking perspective, from a teller position to a managerial role, that's a success. Also, I would say if you are able to get opportunities to learn along your career, that is also a success, because you cannot be working in a particular field or role for over 10 years without learning. So if there are no learning opportunities, to me, it's not a success. If you're satisfied with your job or a career, it's also part of measuring success, I would say. And at the end of the day, if you're making impact, or if you're able to live a sustainable lifestyle, then that is considered being a success, I would say.
Great. Great. Losarian?
Okay, thank you. Michael, I think has put everything in place very, very well. I'll add some few points when you want to measure growth in your career. One, I think, is reward. You find you get better reward from your career, that those we call it increments and something like that. That shows that you are growing, because no one can give you bonuses, can give you better salary if you are not a better person from the one he found you. So I can say better rewards. And the last thing I can add is stability. You find yourself stable in what you do. You find yourself in control of your work. You find yourself feel stable. That stability, it's what I can see your measure that you are getting. Because every work we're doing, we always ask around. Even if that's why I think that's the idea. When you get employed, most of the staff are staying in the pool. you get to talk, but when you are somewhere in your office and you get on top of your work and you are stable and you deliver work and you can analyze, that I can say you have grown in your career.
All right, thank you, Losarian. Before we move to Elizabeth, I would like to introduce our other panelist who has just joined, Ms. Promise Mwakale from Buni Hub. Maybe if you can introduce yourself and let us know about you, and then you can contribute to the topic or what question is that has been posed right now. You're welcome, Promise. Hello, Promise, can you hear us? Okay, so she seems to be having problems with connecting to the audio. So maybe we can proceed now to Miss Elizabeth, and then promise we'll share her insights later on. You're welcome, Elizabeth, to share with us your knowledge and insights on this. How can one measure success in their career?
Yeah, thank you. I think both Losarian and Michael have covered it all, but I'd just like to probably build further on the impact that you're having, and probably share a few examples of people I have seen making an impact in their career. I'll start with an impact. I would like to look at impact from two perspectives: an impact to yourself, intrinsically driven impact, and also probably an impact to the community that's surrounding you, whether it's your family or your colleagues or your industry, the kind of impact that you do externally. Let's start from internally, intrinsic. When you're looking at the impact to yourself, and I would like to use an example of a person who starts from the base of the pyramid in terms of the career hierarchy. Let's look at the telecoms industry, for example. Michael shared about the banking industry. Let's look at the telecoms industry. One of the base of the pyramid jobs or tasks would be either you are a foot soldier selling lines out there, or you are a customer service representative at a telecom shop, or you're probably a call center agent answering and responding to queries of customers. If you are able to now translate or transform yourself from that type of role through your diverse learning, through your diverse understanding of the product and the industry you are impacting, to step yourself out from that role into another role. Let's take an example of a person who moves from a call center agent and grows into become a director of sales and marketing or something, or a director of ICT, or a director of corporate affairs in a telecom industry. Then I would say you have done some impact to yourself internally in terms of your career growth. But it takes a lot for you to move to make that kind of a move, and it also takes time. I was listening to Simon Sinek yesterday in terms of how the current millennials and probably Generation X are impatient about things, and are impatient about even career growth. Somebody gets into a job and they immediately want to see an impact. Impact takes time. It's developed over time, and it's developed over experience. It's developed over how much you instill in yourself as part of your self-learning and your knowledge and your exposure into different challenges within the corporate world. All those would help you generate an impact into your career growth. So stepping out of that, you'll see that this person who's had a career impact intrinsically is able to move from the way they talk is different, the way they perceive things, their mindset starts becoming more strategic other than operational. They're able to add value to others. You see them participating, for example, in panel discussions such as this one, because they also want to impact other people and help them learn new things. So that's the internal bit of it, I would say. And most of the times you'll also see that they have authority in what they are saying because they have been through that journey. They have walked that road. They have faced that path. They understand the challenges. They see the opportunities, and they clearly see where the industry is heading versus where their role is heading. I would say that person has got some internal impact into themselves. When you look at it from the point of view of saying, now, how is your career impacting the community that's surrounding you? Again, this is where we see things like what you're doing at Smart Lab, trying to, set up platforms for people to share their experiences, share their knowledge. You're looking at how can you impact the rest of the community that are not aware about this treasured information that you know and so many other people know. That's one area. But again, you look at them in terms of their satisfaction from the Maslow's hierarchy. They are no longer interested in the petty things, food, shelter, and clothing. No, they are more interested in other things that are the superior of the hierarchy of Maslow, of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In terms of now, they are not only looking at where do I get money for my job, for my food, for my shelter, for my family, but rather they are thinking about how do I develop or build a status in my life, in the community? How does the community perceive me? How can I add value? What kind of business line can I introduce to support, resolve this particular problem that I'm seeing? Maybe it's somebody who is blessed with skills around digital finance, for example, and they are looking at the community and they are seeing, okay, in the community, I see lots of women are struggling with terms of group savings. How do I now bring in an application of my digital finance skills and ability into translating that to becoming a solution for these women who are struggling? Yeah. So they start looking at solutions such as, how do I bring women onto digital platforms to start, doing group savings onto the digital platform and save time to do other economical activities within their scope. So this is where you start seeing impact externally. Maybe I can pause there and see if Promise has joined us so that she can also throw in a few things. Thank you.
Yes, Promise is here and she can now be able to contribute. You're welcome, Promise, to give your
hi everyone. Sorry, I had such problems with technology.
Can we see you?
Yes, let me attempt to do this, and let's hope technology would be kind to me. Hello.
Hello, Promise. You're most welcome.
Okay.
So
I might not keep this on too long if it starts interrupting my connection. So let me understand. Do I have to answer any particular one, or do I just
a bit intro, what you do, who you are, and then you can just go ahead and answer the question that says, how can one measure success in their career?
So my name is Promise Mwakale. As previously mentioned, I'm from Buni Innovation Hub, which is now the Hub of Hubs. I'm a partnership lead at the Hub, and we Buni is a pre-incubation hub, which means we deal with very early stage startups. We deal with mind information for startups, for youth into innovation. We also deal with other hubs that are existing hubs and new hubs being established as part of Hubs of Hubs. So Buni has been around for 10 years. 8 years now, officially. And it's been a pleasure coming here. And the question is, how do you measure in your career? I think whatever or success has to come from you. So in the first place, what was your goal? So how you measure what it is, you must have a baseline for it. I think the adage, you don't need to be the best, you need to be better than yourself. So then we go back to equality versus equity. So we don't all start at the same launch, we don't all start in the same line. So our goals are different and we started is different. It's comparing yourself to someone else without all the variables would be a very difficult thing to maintain. So I say measuring your career would depend on what your goal was. So setting up 5 goals, 10 years goals is essential for you to track your progress and say, okay, so I'm in beam, I need to turn around, I needed to do this, but it keeps you focused to continue.
Hi, Promise. So I think if you're having a bit of an internet issue, you can turn off your video. It's fine.
I did. I don't know if any of this was.
Yeah, we can't. We've lost you.
Oh, okay. So in essence, what I said was, I think measurements of success should be from your goals. What did you want to achieve? I think that sums up what I wanted to say.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah, so since all our panelists have already answered or have already touched on that, now maybe we can move into the current trend, technology, So with the current rise of technology, digital transformation, and all that, I would like to hear from you, our panelists for today, on how has technology played a role in increasing opportunities, especially for young people? So, Michael, I'll start this question with you. What do you think technology has played a role in increasing opportunities for young people?
Okay, so I think it has been so, it has been helpful with the technological changes, because I'm trying to imagine 10 years ago, it wasn't so easy for young people, particularly the millennials, to access various opportunities compared to now. By that, I'm referring to the availability of social media and networks. And from the job perspective, initially we used to depend a lot on traditional media, that you'd wait for a copy of a newspaper for you to go and then read for opportunities. But with the new online media, if you're pursuing a career, or if you're pursuing a job search, you just go to LinkedIn, you can get opportunities. There's an opportunity for us to go on different forums like the one that we're doing today. So I think technology has boosted access for young people to access these opportunities, I would say.
Hello, that's it? Okay, thank you.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Losarian, what do you have? What is your take on this?
Thank you. My take on this is, as Michael said, technology has been so helpful on youth, mostly on youth, for building, because the youth are the next generation. But I can touch like 3 points which I back up my point, that technology has brought something called leverage. Leverage, to me, I understand it is something you can say doing more with less. That is the thing technology has brought us. For example, right now, when you want to reach, you make an advertisement. Instead of waiting for the piece of newspaper tomorrow, you can just post something on social media and boost your ad, and you can reach 1,000 people or 1 million people just with a few amount of money. You just put there maybe $5, $10, and now you can reach maybe 10,000, and your product is in front of this all 10,000 faces. But you are, and actually, when I say leverage, there's something also called merit. When they were doing on old ways, how were we able to measure maybe how many people has read our newspaper? But for the help of technology right now, I can know my product has been in front of these people, and these people have clicked, these people have made a comment, and these people have been interested. So these are my lead. So, and the factor of leverage, technology has been played a huge part, and this is something youth can take, because it can go with their capital, because most of youth has maybe no capital or few capital. Some are growing organically. People who have master marketing can grow even their business organically. Just have some interesting content, and they can raising followers, and later on they can advertise followers. So it's how you play your card. Another thing is technology has helped this young generation to focus on what matters. There was a trend back then that in order to have a company, you must have an office, you must have maybe cars, you must have a certain look, the way you dress. Some people, right now, you can even do business with people. You don't even meet. Just remotely, no, and technology has affected every part of business. Something even food business. People cook at home and deliver. You don't even know where they cook your food. They just enjoy the food. You just get your food in a timely manner, and you keep being a customer. So you can see how technology has affected businesses in a positive way, and the youth can grab this opportunity to make big impact. So instead of using the small capital you have to have an office, you can focus on having better. If you're doing food, you can focus having better recipes. You can focus having better cooking tools, and expand and scale up your business in a right pace. And the last thing I can say, technology has brought efficient. Efficient, why? Because now we can measure our work. Technology has helped us to measure our work. So that brings efficient because we can analyze. We have a lot of statistics which has come with tools we're using right now. When on a corporate, we use stuff like CRMs, which can give us the details of how we do our business, the direction, the projection. We have accounting packages for those who account. Even in hiring, now we have algorithms which can help us finding the better candidate instead of going through maybe 1,000 CV. I think Elizabeth can help us here, because you can receive maybe 1,000 CV when CRDB maybe advertise they have a new position. A lot of people can apply, but through an algorithm, someone can just they can help you analyze and give you some few candidates and focus on it, and it can save you time and increase your efficiency. So I can focus on this stuff: leverage, focus on what's matter, and efficient. Technology has helped so much more, and even youth will understand this and take control of this. They will be able to do a bigger impact with small capital or small resources they have. Thank you.
Thank you, Losarian. Now we can move to Ms. Elizabeth to give us her views on this. What do you think technology has played, like what major role has technology played in increasing opportunities for the youth?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Losarian and Michael have covered, I think, a very big part of it. I'll just zero in and look at how technology is supporting me as a talent management professional in the market. But at the same time, just looking at it by sharing the challenges probably that could have been existing had it not been for technology. For me, as a talent management specialist at CRDB Bank, as a giant bank with over 200 branches, we have over 3,500 employees in Tanzania and also in Burundi. So we're looking at cross-boundary, we're looking at internal geographical coverage, we are looking at distance that has got lots of morphological challenges that come across. We're looking at diversity in people themselves. But technology is really helping us to bring that together. When it comes to a time when I need to do my talent management activities through, say, performance management, it's not easy for you to get an oversight of the performance of the entire population that's sitting in different locations to start with, but also sitting in different portfolios in terms of business portfolios. But technology is giving us the capabilities to be able to have a view of what that's looking like. We are able to harness data about the performance of the individuals within CRDB Bank. And we are able to analyze that data and use that data to identify who real talents are and, take on measures to help them, grow their career within CRDB. So I see, like he said, Lozerian, we are leveraging on technology to help us support, see how we can drive those talent management initiatives that we have internally. The second thing that I can also point out there, again, based on what Lozerian said, is just an example. Last year, we were looking for graduates who had completed their university degree in 2019 to come and be a part of CRDB through our management trainee program. So we leveraged on technology in October. We sent out an advert and gave it a timeline of about 6 days. And I don't know, you all understand that our young people are all sitting in on social media. So we leveraged the social media that we had to ensure that our advertisement was sitting in the face of the young people that we were targeting. So we had our website, we had our LinkedIn webpage, we had our Instagram, we had our Facebook, we had video clips that were sitting in on employee status profiles. We prepared some sort of summaries on the job adverts or on the recruitment advert that we were setting out there. And you will not believe we were looking for only 30 graduates, and we had received applications that were about 4,731. And out of that, we were able to leverage on technology to help us identify the 30 that would be the critical 30 that we needed. So technology helped us to, throw the opportunity to the faces of the young people. And those who were on technology were able to see the opportunities, and they were able to send in their applications. They were able to do some of the assessments online. And out of those assessments, we were able to identify those that met the criteria and the qualifications that we were looking out for. So again, that is leverage. But stepping out of that again, we use technology to communicate. Whenever we have any quick information that we need to send out there to people, technology helps us do that. It could be through email, it could be through the WhatsApp video clips, it could be through our social media, internally and externally, but we use that again to communicate, and we are able to reach the people or the talent that we're trying to attract into our organization. Stepping out of that, I would come back again and look at technology from the angle of the graduates or the people who are looking for the opportunities, in terms of how technology can be a positive for them or how it can also be a risk for them. We are so much aware as recruiters in the market that social media plays a great role in the life of individuals in this market. And some of the individuals that we're trying to attract, the young people who are tech savvy, the young people who are looking for opportunities to work within the banking sector or telco sector, whatever, we are able to see or to find some information that gives us an insight into the type of integrity levels that they could be having. So maybe a warning that I can send out there is be careful about what you do on your social media as well. Employers are looking at what you are doing on your social media to be able to make decisions on whether you can be hired or you'll be a right fit with the organizations that you might be wanting to work with. So as an employer, I leverage on technology to attract talent. But again, you as a prospective employee or you as a prospective business partner in the market, again, just be careful about the activities you're throwing out there in social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth. Thank you very much for your contributions. Promise, as the last person to contribute in this, do you have anything to add on from the other panelists on what they've said? You being in a tech space itself, managing a hub, Buni Hub, which is the mother hub of all hubs that we have in Tanzania or in Dar es Salaam. So you've worked with startups, you've worked with different tech companies. So what can you say regarding technology, the role that it has played in increasing opportunities for the youth?
Yes, so I think you rightly said, as a hub, we think our main goal is to how youth can turn technology and entrepreneurial, use technology to be more entrepreneurial. And as the first speaker said, that it has helped in business aspects. Yes, we think the best thing that it's been able to do is exactly transform hobbies into careers for anyone that wishes to. So it has lowered the cost of starting a business. Whereas you be a social influencer, you can be a social media manager, you can be almost anything and transform that using technology into a career that is respectable. It also has lowered cost of starting a business. For instance, when you're saying you can do drop shipping right now, literally your work is finding the best supplier and finding the market, and you're the middleman. Where exactly what you're saying, you don't have to produce any of these things. So that transformative ability for technologists turning hobbies to careers and being able to sell anything. I think that's what the opportunities that young people currently have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Promise. Yes, thank you for all your contributions to this. I think the attendees have learned a lot in regarding to what technology has done, what it has improved, the opportunities that are there in the career job space, and what they can leverage on through technology. So our last question for today, which I would like Elizabeth to start with, is what resources can one what resources should young people mostly use to their advantage while building their careers? Maybe you can, any advice that you have for these young people while they're building their careers, what resources should they focus on?
That's a very tricky question, I would say. Because I wouldn't say there's one size that would fit all in terms of the approach for resources. But I would want to say the first resource that one has is you, in terms of you being open-minded, in terms of you opening yourself to the opportunities that are out there. I think we've seen at the role of technology, we have seen at how one can leverage technology. We have looked at how you can work with the hobbies that are intrinsic, I would say. But the question is, are you open-minded enough to challenge yourself to pursue what it is that you have seen? Let's say, for example, I have a hobby in cooking, but I'm not open enough to exposing myself to the kitchen all the time. So it's not something that I would like to probably extend my tentacles and do on a large scale. So that's why I come back to say, it's really, the first resource for me is you, in terms of how open-minded are you? Because if you're open-minded, then you will leverage on technology, one, you will open yourself to exposing yourself to additional knowledge through learning. You will want to attend, for example, seminars such as this one. I see we have 14 attendees. Individuals with an open mind, you would have seen an attendee list there that's greater than 14. You'd probably be seeing people in hundreds and thousands, but now that pushes you to want to take that extra step to say, okay, I'm pursuing this, so this is what I must do. You will expose yourself to uncomfortable situations just so that you are able to take yourself to the next level. So the first resource that I would say is really you and your mindset and being open-minded. Once you are, they always say where there's a will, there's a way. Once you're open-minded, you will find a way in terms of maybe if it's finances for investment, you will find ways. We have people like Buni Hub who are there willing to, to incubate young tech parties, young developers who want to, grow. But they have to have the appetite and they must be willing to want to go and be incubated by Buni. Yeah. So that's why I start by saying, I think the first resource that you have is you and your willingness, to take on whatever challenge. The rest will come. Thank you. Let's hear from the rest.
Thank you very much. Michael from CRDB, can we hear from you as well? And what do you think are the resources these young people need to build on to focus on as their careers?
So for them in their career, okay. I think Elizabeth has said it well, but I would say, and what I would encourage young people is to apply, because the biggest challenge is they tend to prioritize money before the output. So my biggest advice would be for them to seek either avenue or placement for them to show their capacity, and then money would come along the way. They also need to leverage on their networks, because honestly now you might be good academically, but if you don't have a right network to speak on your behalf or to vouch for you, then it becomes a disadvantage. So leveraging on networks. They also need to get probably a mentor or somebody to show them how to navigate around. And lastly, I would say learning. We need to keep learning every day. That's the only way that you can benchmark and differentiate yourself with others. So learning, getting a mentor, expanding the network, and then for them to seek avenue for placement or volunteering and the internships.
Thank you, Michael. I can move to Losarian now. Your inputs on this?
Thank you. I think Michael and Elizabeth has said in the big part, but I'll just add some few points of mine. The resources which youth have right now, apart from what my other panelists have said, I can add time. Time, I think it's a very important factor, because time, we can't redeem time. And by saying that, redeeming the time is by planning to use your time well. So time is the very, very, very biggest resources youth can have, because when you want to develop a career, when you want to develop maybe a business, you are the one who can detect the pace. You are the one who can, because most of the people you will work at the founding age are other founders like you, or those employees which we work with them very closely, and you are there in the, for example, let's say, for example, today to change or to make a simple adjustment in a company like CRDB, it will take a huge effort than a company, than a startup with 5 people, with 5 employees or 10 staff. So the pace with this startup, the person use, they have a great advantage with the number, and they can shorten their time. Another resources they can use is the internet. Elizabeth have said it once that most of young people are mostly on social medias, but we all know what are the stuff they're focusing on. But on the internet, they can be whatever they want. They can present their brand in a way they want. They can build their skills in the way they want. So internet has an incredible potential to make a youth successful, personally and on a career-wise, or even a business. And the other resource, the third one is, I can say, the size of the young generation. Africa in all has an incredible energy, and it's coming from its young people. The statistics say it's more than 60% by 2025, the population of Africa will be youth. That data is not something which we have to take for granted. Youth has to look around. Instead of looking for an investor or going to be to pitch my idea to somebody. I'm going to look at a co-founder from this, from a billionaire or a millionaire. Just look around. Look around. You can find an incredible energy which you can take your company, your startup, or you can build your career with. Just around with you, just somebody you're studying with, just somebody who is your neighbor. So this high size of the youth community is an incredible resources which we don't have to take for granted. And the last one I can say is the change of mindset in the older generation. We all know most of the resources, mostly fund, for now, they have been held by the older generation. Before, we have a conflict of generation that they were not trusting us. They were not trusting in this internet stuff, in this new way of doing stuff. But nowadays, we have seen the older generation have started to change their mindset, and they can support this stuff. So let's take that as an advantage to partner with them, to engage and to collect the experience to make us go more further. I think I can end up there and let others add up.
Thank you, Losarian. Promise, anything you can add on to what each panelist has said?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think the biggest resource we can use is people. We are in a knowledge economy. It's not what you are or do, it's who and what you know.
Hello? Promise?
Yes, yes, I said I think they've said it all.
Okay, great.
Resources and people are the best resources.
Yes. Thank you very much. So with time, I would like to open room now for questions from our attendees to our panelists with all the questions that have been going on, the discussions that we've done. We open the room for questions. If you have any questions, please raise up your hand and I will select you and I'll give you permission to talk. But before that, we had a question from the Q&A session. One of the attendees asked, is it possible to have more than one career? I see Losarian had responded to that, and Michael, yes. But any of the panelists who wants to add on to that can really chip in. Elizabeth, do you have anything to say on that?
I would say, yes, it is possible, but you can also have career linkages. You can also probably have different careers at different times of your life, but there would be careers that are building onto each other. When you look at the future of human resource, the future of the labor market, we are looking at people who are multitaskers, but also people who are multi-skilled, people who've got skills in different areas and can actually support in different areas. So I think I'll take an example of myself. I have built my career in different areas. I have built my career in the area of customer service. I have built my career in the area of human resource, talent management. I have built my career in the area of digital finance. But when I look at all these three skills that I have, they're helping me or positioning me for the future. When I look at my final career path, really, I want to get into coaching, executive coaching. And for me to be an effective executive coach, I need to be able to understand the dynamics within the business. Yeah. So for young people who are getting into the market and who want to grow into executive positions, into executive roles, it's really important for them to sort of get an understanding or get their hands messy on the various career lines so that it gives them an experience that would help them when they are grown up at that level to be able to make decisions that are value adding to whatever businesses that they'll be managing. So the answer is yes. And adding on top of that, yes, you can have different career paths, But at the same time, you can also have different career linkages where one career path links you into another career path, which links you into another career path. But you can also have a diversified career whereby it gives you multi-skills to be able to do different things at different times. That's where you can now see somebody who was a finance expert going through into business administration and becoming a managing director or a CEO of an organization, because they have an understanding of finance, and now they can balance that with business management, and now they can take that to the next level. You see somebody who probably was an ICT specialist moving into becoming an ICT risk expert or consultant in the ICT field. Then they are able to, look at the different things within there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And maybe as a follow-up question to add on to that, how does someone draw a line between being a business person arising from a hobby and having a career? There might be people in the career, but they also want to start their businesses arising from a hobby that they have. Yeah. How does someone draw a line there?
That's a very tricky one. Very tricky one for me, especially as an HR professional at the moment, where you probably have people within the employment world who are currently focused on the job they're working on as part of their career, but they also have a side job which is related to their hobby. I think it's not easy to, you may want to draw a line, or you may choose not to draw a line, but it depends on the impact that you're trying to get. If you need to, a good number of people, before they break out and start their own business, they will carry on their hobbies and start developing their hobbies into a business line while they're still working as well. But the challenge that we see most of the times is people fail to draw a balance or to create a balance in terms of the time, because they all have 8 hours to manage both. How do they balance both? They'll probably want to make sacrifices and do their hobbies later in the evening or outside of working hours. And those who are able to manage that are able to draw a line, I can say. They would respect their work time, they would respect their hobby time. But you'd find that a good number of people as well fail to be able to balance that. Then these are the kind of people who would steal the employer's time and use it for their personal hobby and personal, business on the side, which then comes along to start interfering with their workspace as well. So it really would depend on, I would say, the maturity level of the individual in terms of what do they really want to achieve. Are they able to balance both the hobby and the work, or do they want to step out of the work and just leverage on the hobby and make the hobby a career path? It would really depend on this individual and what they would want to achieve and how well they can balance that time to achieve both.
Great, thank you. That's an eye-opening there. Other panelists also going to comment on this? Promise, Losarian, do you have anything to say on this?
No, actually, I think Elizabeth has said it all, but what I will add is, if you want to draw a line between a hobby and a career, you must have a time frame. I think you have to put a time frame. You're working on a career and you're developing your hobby. You have to put a time frame that, when am I going to make a decision to be on one side? If it's not the case, you're afraid to lose the job you have, you want to build this career, and you still want to develop the side business you have, automate, leverage technology, automate in order for you because if you're going to steal an employer time, it will not take long until he will know, and then you will be in trouble, or you will lose both sides because you are not ready to go in your business, and you will destroy your career. So put time frame. If you can't put time frame, leverage technology, automate your business, take charge of it, build some processes in place, and then focus on one thing. I'm a believer of focusing on be somewhere, be present.
Thank you, Losarian. Promise, anything to add?
I think Losarian said it very beautifully. It is the hardest thing about entrepreneurship is looking at your business as a part-time work as well, because then you'd find it very difficult to put for it to proceed. So yeah, putting a time frame. But then I think I would add that you need to learn what skills you need from your job for you to succeed in your business. It's always the best. It's always the best practice. We start having jobs not just to have capital to begin with, but also to have management skills and different soft skills for us, for our business to succeed. And oftentimes you always find that people start businesses along the line of their career or their jobs. I think as the first panelist said, that she went from customer service to HR and to personal coaching, because all these are all these are skills learned along the ways, and she can personally say, okay, now I am skilled enough to do this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Promise. And I see Michael already answered in the chats. So he's already given his contribution saying, well, it is possible, feasible and advisable to have multiple careers. In fact, there are some people in the society who are lawyers, bankers, doctors, but also own or practice businesses. They're entrepreneurs. Like the late Mengi, who was a chartered accountant, but ventured into business as well. So that's a good example. Thank you, Michael. Yes, so I believe all the questions have been answered, and we have no questions from the attendees. Students, any questions? You have a platform here to learn, ask from the experienced. We have Miss Elizabeth here, who is quite versed in this sector of career. Please feel free to ask any question that you have. Well, I think if you don't have any questions, I would like to give, okay, we have Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, as you're always the first to ask. You can speak now.
Okay, my name is Kevin, and I have a question here. As you can see, maybe from my little observation, a lot of startups maybe or what fail to grow more because of the teamwork, or because of the people who are participating in that issue or that project. So from the panelists, how can they comment on how you can, if you have an idea and then you want to have a team, how can you select people to be part of your team and then to grow that project you have into a successful company, organization? Thanks.
Great. So if I've heard the question clearly, Kevin here is asking, how can you select your teammates? Let's say you have an idea, you want to venture into business, and how can you identify people to work with you in your team? Correct, Kevin?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Who can I give this to answer? Maybe anyone can volunteer to answer this. Michael? I see Michael is not.
Okay, maybe let me start, and
okay.
the rest of the panelists can chip in. To start with, these startups would have a goal in terms of what it is that they want to get their startup to focus on, whether it is a business idea. Let's say you have a startup in the tech development world, for example. Maybe you have a startup that's trying to create an application for maybe sale of water, for example. You need to have to select a team of people, number one, who share a common vision with you. In other words, they have seen that there is a problem that your startup is going to resolve in the market, depending on the impact that you want to make. You probably have seen, or your vision has been, you've seen a lot of people who are selling water, maji ya kisima, and there's no way to, automate the process of sale of water. And so you want to, set up an app that would help in the billing process, for example. They need to be members who see that problem as a problem. So you share a common vision. Then number two, it would be for you to understand the nature of the business opportunity that you're pursuing and the critical skills that will be required to make that business opportunity viable. For example, that business opportunity might require not only tech skills, but it might also require sales skills. It might require customer service skills. It might require project management skills. It might require probably risk management skills in terms of cash collection, and probably it might require financial skills in terms of balancing your books and stuff like that. So the question is, amongst the team that you'd like to put up or set up to drive that vision of yours ahead, do you have members of the team who've got the skills that would address these skills that are required for the business? I think that would be an area that's also important. Then thirdly, you need to also have a strategic mindset in terms of how far do you want to take that business, but not only how far you want to take it, how do you make it viable? How do you make it sustainable? So that kind of mindset would also be critical. Understand the business environment you're operating in. Are there any regulatory frameworks that you must be aligned to? Do you have any financial risks that are associated with you operating that business? Really important for you to understand that. And then at the same time, you need to be able to look at who are your competitors, what is your market, and how are you going to create a niche, like Loserian had initially said. How are you going to create a niche for yourself? What kind of customer segment are you looking out for? And who are the people who are going to help you see it from your perspective and go with it? But most importantly, once you've set up that team, it's really important for you guys to always align and have a common vision through regular meetings, regular discussions on the strategies that you're taking forward, and having performance conversations, like difficult performance conversations, ensuring that everybody is actually delivering what they're supposed to deliver on their part. And I think that would really help in terms of making this startup to take off and be sustainable. My colleagues there can add on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elizabeth. I believe you've answered the question quite well. And Kevin, I believe your question has been answered and all of us have learned from it. So if we have no more questions, as we wind up, I would like to just ask each of the panelists to give like the last advice on what we've discussed today. So considering from where you've been, the direction you've taken, what has helped you to get where you are right now in your career? Any last advice that you can give to the youth or to the students and others that are listening? Or anything that we haven't addressed in the questions? So I would like to start with Promise. Hello, Promise, are you there? Okay, we can go to Loserian.
Thank you. The advice I have for students, I have one advice for students and so to other panelists. And let me start with the student. This is the time you have I think I'm talking to students. This is the time they have everything it takes to build their career or to start a business. The only thing they lack is focus. What really they have to put their mind on, what they have to sleep and woke up on one. So choose one thing and focus on it over time. Be very, 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 very focused. Yeah, try to analyze yourself. Take your time. Sleep on something and just ask yourself, is this something I can put my mind on for at least 5 years? Just one thing. Because as Elizabeth says, you know, Elizabeth is the coach. And if you have listened to her very well today, she has pointed every one of us in the right direction. As she said, she's developing herself into executive coaching. But all of us have learned something from her. Just take your time. Everything needs time. Everything is built over time. Choose one thing and put your mind on that thing. Learn everything on what you want to be good at. Just one. Another thing is focus on processes. You have said about team and everything, but the question Kevin asked, you know, teams, I always believe you can't be an expert of building teams. You can be good at, but you can't be an expert that you are not going to make mistakes. So processes are everything. People come and go. You can even be good at pointing out good people, but when you have good people, other people look at them, or they even find their potential and they will love to go and starting their own, and you have already developed them. So when you have good people and they help you build a process, that process can even take just a normal person and operate in a way you want it to be. So focus on one thing and focus on building processes. To other panelists, let me say, let's take a move on something like this. If you have been approached with people like SmartLab, let's make a habit of sharing ideas to be our habit. It is by that we grow ourselves more and we be more blessed. Let's take as a responsibility that the next generation, the younger generation, they have to stand on our shoulders. We're not going to be here forever. We're not going to, the legacy are not going to be cars and houses. They are going to be the impact we are going to left. If I'm going out with the quote from Elizabeth, it will stay with me. I'm going to tell my children, and they're going to tell their children. So let's put the habit of sharing ideas. Let's put sometimes, we spend time in a lot of stuff, which you can have some 2 hours, 1 hour, just to impact someone. We don't know who will go with what when you put a word out. And don't afraid on what you're gonna say. Just open your mouth. We are believers. God will put words in your mouth. Thank you.
Thank you, Losarian. Thank you very much. Michael Matero, are you on?
Oh, yes, I'm on, yeah. So one thing that I can leave behind, I would say, getting a career, it's a process. It does not happen overnight. And I'm glad that Elizabeth was here to share insights. And as you can see, she has been in the industry for over 15 years. So she had a focus, a direction, and patience along the way. So it is not something that would happen overnight, that today you are a teller and then the next day you're a manager. Nope. So it's a process, and young people need to sacrifice their time and articulate their journey so that they can attain their career goals. So that would be my biggest advice this morning.
Thank you, Michael. Miss Elizabeth, you're welcome.
All right, thank you. Again, from a talent management space in various corporate organizations that you young people are looking forward into getting into. When I speak to young people, most of the times, and I ask them, which organizations would you like to work for? They say, I would like to work for a blue chip company, a corporate organization, you know, one that's already famous, benchmark organizations. Yeah, maybe a quick insight into how talent management is done into such organization. You have to have consistent performance. So you go in there and be a performer. Once you are a performer, you create attention from the existing leadership teams within, who then would now become your promoters in the meeting rooms and in the boardrooms where decisions are made that would help you to, you know, grow your career. So once you get into the career field, just ensure you're performing. And you cannot perform if you're not focused. You cannot perform if you're not skilled enough. You cannot perform if you do not have the right attitude. There are times when we make decisions of hire based on attitude and not based on knowledge and skills. So have the right attitude is the other one that I'd put out there. And another one that I'd like to throw out there as well is just ensure that you've got business acumen. Ensure you're a person who likes to pay attention to details. You can analyze complex situations and, you know, come up with root cause of issues. That kind of mindset, that kind of attitude will take you places. So start building that and start developing that appetite now while you're still at university. And once you're out of there, it will become a part of your DNA. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the great insights, Ms. Elizabeth. Promise to close?
Yeah, so I think I would like to build on what Ms. Elizabeth said. I would phrase it as kujiongeza. Just always be on a personal development. Always be, don't do the bare minimum. Doing the bare minimum has never gotten someone anywhere. Always be resourceful. Can you do this better? Can you achieve better than that? As I said from the beginning, it has to be being better than what you were previously. You always have to be moving forward and progressing.
Great, yes, well said. Each panelist has a lot of great insights that they have contributed today, and I believe the students have learned a lot. I myself have learned a lot from the panelists, and yeah, so we've reached to, we don't want to say an end, but a beginning of another great session. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much for your great contributions. And I would like to ask you if you can help the attendees, if you can share with us your contact details, if they would like to approach you separately, maybe more so Ms. Elizabeth, since you're well versed in this, and our students who are going to start their careers soon, if they have any questions to ask, any further questions, they can reach out to you. Is that okay?
That's okay. You can share my details.
Okay, great. So
this is fine.
okay, so maybe Elizabeth, you can share your details in the chat. Because we already have for Michael and Losarian. We don't have for Elizabeth. Or you can all share in the chat as well. Yes, the students are saying, thank you very much, Miss Elizabeth. Thank you for the session. It's been informative. Yes, this session has been great, for real. It's been very informative, very insightful, and it wouldn't have been this great without you, our panelists. I hope you can all see the contacts that are being shared for our panelists. So we're moving into the next session right now. That is a speaking session from FSDT company, who are going to share about transferable skills. Let's all move into that session that is starting now. You're all welcome, even our panelists. You're most welcome to join as well. Thank you very much for this session, and we hope to continue working with you in the future, Miss Elizabeth, just to wind up, to give a final introduction, a conclusion, we had Miss Elizabeth today, talent management from CRDB. We had Promise Mokale from Bunihab. We had Losarian, CEO from Halos Containers. We had Michael Materu, also from CRDB Bank. Thank you all very much. And
Thank you.
this is the end of our session.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and enjoy the rest of the sessions, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.